Today in this video we will see the usage, a very important usage, in spite of and despite. So, what is the use of using these type of prepositions and as well as some of the connectors in our day to day speech and in writing that gives a quality to our speech and writing. So, today we will see a very important concept of usage of in spite of and despite. Both of them mean same thing and their meaning is somewhere nearer to even though, although, notwithstanding, regardless of, etc. So, they mean almost same and they play the role of preposition. They play the role of preposition. Then despite and in spite of have the same meaning as although, even though, notwithstanding and regardless of. The most common usage of despite and in spite of is despite, in spite of plus noun and the class comes. For example, you see here, in spite of his hunger, this is a noun. In spite of his hunger, John did not eat. Although John was hungry, he did not eat. Despite his being hungry, John did not eat. So, in spite of his hunger, John did not eat. Despite her broken arm, she played the game. Again, noun phrase here. So, in spite of his hunger, John did not eat. Despite her hunger, her broken arm, she played the game. Second usage, you can use verbs after despite and in spite of if you change them into gerund, that is present participle and gerund form, ing form. So, see here, despite having no time, he stopped to help. Despite having no time, he stopped to help. We can use although. Although he had no time, he stopped to help. In spite of arriving late, you see the ing form here. This is what gerund form. In spite of arriving late, we found good seats. Although we arrived late, we found good seats. That is the meaning. Third, you can use a clause after despite or in spite of if you add the fact that, adding this, the fact that. So, three places we can use, that is despite plus noun, then despite with gerund, in spite of with the fact that. Example, despite the fact that I was sick, I took the test. Despite the fact that I was sick, I took the test. In spite of the fact that she didn't like me, in spite of the fact that she didn't like me, she gave me a present. Although she didn't like me, she gave me a present. That is the meaning. So, in spite of the fact that she didn't like me, she gave me a present. So, in spite of and despite will come always followed by nouns, one. Second, with gerunds, and we can use it with this phrase, the fact that. Now, let us see some more examples. Despite the law, people continue to use mobile phones while driving. In spite of the law, people continue to use mobile phones while driving. We enjoyed the festival despite the rain. We enjoyed the festival despite the rain, meaning that although it was heavily raining, we enjoyed the festival. In spite of heavy rain, we enjoyed the festival. This is the meaning. Despite having a headache, I had a great birthday. Despite having a headache, I had a great birthday. Although I had a headache, I had a great birthday. Despite the fact that he worked very hard, he didn't pass the examination. Although he worked very hard, he didn't pass the examination. In spite of working very hard, he didn't pass the examination. All the three ways we can use it. That is, despite the fact that he worked very hard, he didn't pass the exam. Despite the fact that it rained, We still had a great time. Despite the fact that it rained heavily, we still had a great time. Despite his hunger, John didn't eat. In spite of his hunger, John didn't eat. Although John was hungry, he didn't eat. So, this way you have to keep using and using and using. Despite her broken arm, she played the game. In spite of her hand being broken, she played the game. Despite having no time, he stopped to help. Despite being angry, he let us in. In spite of the rain, we enjoyed our holiday. In spite of the rain, we enjoyed our holiday. I didn't get the job in spite of having all the necessary qualifications. I didn't get the job in spite of having all necessary qualifications. Although I had all necessary qualification, I didn't get this job. Despite having all necessary qualification, I didn't get the job. So, you have to keep on using like this, so that usage becomes a part of your regular speech. So, it gives quality and standard to our language communication. In spite of what I said yesterday, I still love you. I couldn't sleep despite being tired. Although I was tired, I couldn't sleep. He is a good company in spite of the fact that he talks all the time. He is a good company in spite of the fact that he talks all the time. Although he talks all the time, he is a good company. Despite his habit of talking all the time, he is a good company. We understood him in spite of his accent. We understood him in spite of his accent. We went on a picnic although the weather was cool. See, we went on a picnic although the weather was cool. We can also tell it in this way: we went on a picnic in spite of cool weather. We went on a picnic in spite of cool weather. Jim went with us although he had lot of work to do. Jim went with us although he had lot of work to do. Jim went with us in spite of his work. Ronnie went too although she had cold. Ronnie went too although she had cold. Ronnie went too in spite of her cold. Like that we can use despite, in spite of, and although, even though, notwithstanding, etc. But one thing you have to observe, that with despite you won't have of or in front of that, but in spite of you will have in and of. In prior to that and after that of we will have, despite will come always in single. So, use these examples and also listen to the examples I have given and construct your own sentences using these two usages, that is in spite of and despite, and learn them how to use it, so that in your day to day communication you correctly use them. Thank you.